why don't we talk about the piece that we're going to do on the Fresh Ink concert, 21. This was a piece that you wrote for Mariel Roberts, who's a cellist that you've collaborated with a lot. And the version we're doing is a later version you created, which was for marimba and cello, but the original was for pan and cello. So where does the name 21 come from? And does that have a specific way it works into the piece?
Yeah. I wrote 21 in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
This is after I met Mariel at the Bang on a Can Festival.
Okay.
I went in 07 as a percussionist, 08 I went as a composer.
Okay.
Yeah, I met her there. She played my piece, I Fall In Two. It's for string quartet and steel pans. And that's the first time I wrote for strings. And then Mariel asked me to write her a piece for her senior recital at Eastman School of Music. So that fall, I think it was in October, started writing a piece, but I ended up, we would meet and I would try to learn about the cello. I had this idea, this arpeggiated idea that I stole from Bach.
Okay.
The 21st measure of the G minor fugue. A lot of percussionists love to do. The violin sonata in G minor. The fugue, the 21st, I believe it's 20. Yeah, the 21st measure is these 3 chords.
Interesting.
And I learned that piece on steel pans.
Okay.
Like a tenor pan with 2 double seconds. So it was I learned it in the exact voicings and everything, and the exact octave. So I'd always, this one part was really tricky on pan, and I loved the way these chords were voiced. It sounds really great on pan, and they were just block chords.
Yeah.
3-note chords. So the first one is F,
A, D, right?
F, D, A.
Yeah.
In that order. So F, D, and then an A above that, and then I don't know the order. And then D, D, F, E, D, G.
Right.
G, D, B flat. So you do like this.
Yeah.
It was kind of tricky on the pan. It was a little quirky. I was just trying to memorize the voicings of it. And I would just arpeggiate. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And I would just arpeggiate it instead of play the block.
Right.
I was like, oh man, one day I want to do something with this.
Wow.
It sounds really, I like the way it sounded like. Especially how the voice leading would work. So that's why I would never have thought of that kind of leaps in those arpeggiations. I would have done something really, really lame, like just do D, F, E, or D, F, A, or something.
Yeah.
I've never would have spaced it like that.
The D up to the B flat, especially. Right?
Yeah, all those, and it just, I really liked how those worked out, especially arpeggiating. So I would work with Mariel with that, and we would just do that. And I first started the piece as like a phase kind of piece. Mm-hmm. So I was in the Steve Reich's phase music at the time. And I was trying to mix up with that, like, all right, what if we play this together? Yeah. And I throw a triplet in it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how that one section kind of works. But that was going to be the basis of the piece, and ended up not being. And I was like, what if I throw a triplet and then throw me 1/16 off?
Yeah. Right.
So it was just a different way to try to phase it. Not phase, but I don't know,
like have
stuff like clapping music. There's not a phase in between.
But things are getting just thrown off a little bit, and then
about 16 notes. Because if you throw a triplet in there, it's gonna put you one ahead.
Right. Exactly.
So I wanted to experiment with that, and that's how the piece kind of started. And then I kept hearing this other line. I wanted to have that D, F, E, G arpeggiated thing with the pits. And then I was messing around with that, and I wanted that to be another contrasting section or something. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, man, I just want that going on most of the time.
Right, okay.
And I was taking lessons with Julia Wolf at the time. And I remember leaving her house one day and just, I forgot what she said, but I got really inspired. And I remember walking down the street. This was like Chambers Street or something, downtown Manhattan. And it just clicked with me. I was like, man, I want to have all of this going on at once. And I thought, well, I have to do a loop pedal.
Loop pedal, yeah.
not that big into the maybe aesthetics of trying to do a loop pedal, but it was the only way to get it to work and still keep it a duet.
Yeah, right.
And then so I was always working with ideas with like either adding a 16th note or taking away one every time, but then not just doing that, but doing that against the quarter note pulse.
Right. Yeah.
So the quarter note pulse would be the pan playing on the rim.
Yeah.
Or now the marimba
playing on the. Yeah.
So you hear that quarter. That way you hear the.
How it relates against that kind of like a tension before it like resolves after.
Yeah. So it always it takes 4 times.
Yeah.
So the. So it's 27 16th notes, but by the time it needs 4 cycles to go through.
Right. Yeah.
To catch back up with the quarter note.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I'm talking about, but that's
that's
where I wanted to take it.
Yeah.
So it started out as that 21st measure.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was gonna call it measure 21, but that would have been really lame.
Just 21.
21.
Yeah.
And if people want to ask about it, then that's cool.
Yeah.
But if they don't know about it, it's fine too.
Yeah.
And then Marielle was also 21 years old.
Oh, okay.
When I wrote it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. And let's see. And so so the piece you, and you do this I think in a lot of your music is that you try to find ways that the instruments can make different sounds than are usually associated with that instrument. And I would say in this case, the cello has to knock on their cello. She has to play, or he or she has to play a bass drum, pedal bass drum, amongst working the loop pedal, and has to clap a little bit at some point in the piece. And the marimba player has to hit on the sides of the instruments to set up the quarter notes for the loop. And then you ask us to use wood dowels and some of those kinds of things. Are you? And you recently wrote a piece for string quartet in marimba where the marimba player plays just with these wood dowels the whole entire time.
Chopsticks.
And it chopsticks basically, and like you have a rubber binder on one of the low. Is that what it is? With that slap on the low C?
Oh, from marimba.
Yeah.
Sorry, marimba.
Sorry.
Yeah,
marimba.
All dowels. Yeah. Oh, marimba and string quartet.
Yeah, marimba and string quartet. Yeah.
I just wrote one with pan and string quartet.
Oh,
too,
you did. Okay.
Where the pan only uses chopsticks.
Oh, cool. But so I mean, when you're composing a piece like that, or just in general, are you always kind of looking for those sounds, or do those sounds come out from like something that you have in your head as a concept, or is there kind of both an exploration and kind of take or give?
It's a little bit of both. I don't look for sounds just for the sake of looking for sounds.
Okay.
It's just like, all right, I need to hear this, and maybe a marimba with a regular mallet just doesn't sound as nice to me.
Right.
I mean, at that moment.
At the moment,
there's
yeah,
so
it's not
much
the right
great
timbre.
music for that, and I'm like, I could just listen to that. I'm not really gonna be able to bring my voice with this. So a lot of times I will alter the sound, and that comes from. All right. Well, there's a few angles we can take with this, but the whole dowel rod chopstick thing on a steel pan or marimba comes out of me playing steel pan for so long, and it's so resonant. It's so, all the overtones ring so much.
Yeah.
And the attack's very round to me. And for so many years, I think I did it might be from drumline and percussion, just playing really articulate sounds, and then going to steel pan for so many years. I guess I missed that intense attack.
That's interesting, yeah.
That way you hear every single rhythm. So that's when I started really doing stuff with chopsticks on the steel pan. And then with the marimba, it was so resonant that I really wanted to focus on the attack, not even the pitch as much.
Yeah.
More contour. So with the marimba, I wanted to have the contour and not worry about the beautiful resonant sound of a marimba.
Yeah.
For that particular piece.
Yeah.
So I wanted to use dowel rods without the heads to get that sound.
Yeah.
And then the whole rubber band thing, and I started that with 21 actually with the pan part.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You have a prepared pan there. Yeah.
I loved when I first heard all the Bartok string quartets, and I was starting to write for my first string quartet pan piece.
Yeah.
I was learning about strings. I guess my biggest influence at the time was Bartok.
The Bartok pits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all those string quartets, but so the strong pizzicato, guitar effect or whatever, and the snap pits. I I was intrigued by that, and I wanted to mimic that with the pan. The only way I could think of to do that was to take hair braiding rubber bands, the little black ones, and paper clips. And I used a pan called a bore pan.
Okay.
With holes bored into it, drilled into it around the notes. And what that does is create like a really resonant steel pan.
Oh, really?
The notes even bleed more than
so.
they
Wow.
know. I'm not a big fan of that bore pan sound.
Right.
And that was created because they wanted water to go through.
Oh, really?
So when they had pan around the neck,
yeah,
and it would rain,
yeah,
the water would go through.
Oh, wow.
It ended up creating a different sound.
Wow.
So I used the bore pan, I used the bore pan to put the paper clips. I would stretch them out, put them through, put the rubber bands in, and then twist the paper clips on the bottom. So then when you pull the rubber band, it's like a snap pizzicato.
Wow.
It takes way too long to prepare a pan
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it. It's a very neat effect, actually, yeah.
And I wanted to have, because it's cool, because then you can grab 3 or 4. You could probably grab up to 5 or 6 at a time.
Yeah.
And just pull them. So you get a chord of like a perfect unison of Bartok pits on the pan.
Very, yeah.
So you can't, I don't feel like you can recreate that sound anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then that mixed with the chopsticks, I feel like it opens so many new timbres to the piece.
Yeah.
So I put everything I had into that, like every kind of idea I had to alter the cello sound or the pan sound.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, and Marielle's rhythm is so great that's why she was playing kick drum.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I had her operate the loop pedal because I don't trust myself.
Yeah. Okay.
To do that. But in a lot of that piece, it has influences from soca.
Okay.
And soca and calypso.
Yeah. Right.
Like she's playing.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the tambourine.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah.
It's like it's straight up soca.
Yeah.
Just mixed between 2 people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to make that groove really well, but once you get in there, it feels good.
Yeah. Right. Well, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for Andy for talking with me. I
Oh,
appreciate
thank
it.
you,
Yeah.
man. That's a
This
pleasure.
was fun.